This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is the After Party live on a Trivia Thursday. Thank you for being here, and hope you enjoyed the Mark Thompson show, because I sure enjoyed hanging out with Pat Thurston and David Katz today. So nice to see you guys here. Thank you for hanging out and being patient. My leg fell asleep. I was trying to stretch it out under the desk. I was moving around. I'm kind of, I don't know. I always feel like I'm fine until the camera comes on, and then all of a sudden I get a little itchy and I'm moving around, and so I was trying to stay still, and then my legs started giving me the tingle. So I got up and I moved around, and I think it's okay, but if you see me shifting around, that's what's going on over here. Thank you for hanging out on the Mark Thompson show. Mark will be back tomorrow. Today, we've got some trivia questions for you. Got a little science, got a little movie trivia coming up. And then tonight at 5 p.m., please make note of it. The Nikki Maduro show happens 5 to 6 p.m. tonight. Cocktails, mocktails, and politics. And I look forward to hanging out with you there as well. So please make a note. And if you haven't seen the show before, come along and click subscribe and see what you think of it, because we have a good time, and I'd love to grow that show. Please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already here to the After Party Live. This is a show that is not about politics, where we just kind of take a breath from all of the harsh stuff we just discussed on the Mark Thompson show. So let's dig into it right now, because the first story I have for you today is about space. We are going to look at the strongest evidence so far for life beyond our solar system. Scientists say that they have observed these chemical compounds that could be a tipping point for those searching for extraterrestrial life. We're looking for it until we find it. And then, is that what we really wanted? There's a giant planet 124 light years from Earth that apparently is giving us the strongest evidence yet that extraterrestrial life may be thriving beyond our solar system, according to astronomers. Is anyone surprised by that? You can't be surprised that there might be somewhere else in the universe teeming with life. We're not possibly alone in this vast universe. The observations come courtesy of the James Webb Space Telescope of this planet that has been named ultra sexy K2-18b. The K2-18b appears to show the chemical fingerprints of two compounds that on Earth are known to be produced by life. The detection of the chemicals dimethyl sulfide, DMS, and dimethyl sulfide, DMDS, are not proof alone of biological activity or aliens, but could bring the answer as to whether we are alone in the universe. And according to this astrophysicist at the University of Cambridge who led the observation, his name is Professor Niku Madhusan, he says it's the strongest evidence to date for biological activity beyond our solar system. He says we're very cautious. We have to question ourselves both on whether the signal is real and on what it means. But decades from now, we may look back at this very point in time that you and I are talking about right now and recognize that that was when the living universe came within reach. This could be the tipping point, he says, where suddenly the fundamental question of whether we're alone in the universe is one we're capable of answering. Others still question about whether the conditions on the planet K2-18b are favorable enough to inspire life to bloom, and whether DMS and DMDS, which are mostly produced by marine phytoplankton on Earth, could really be considered biosignatures on this planet. K218b is in the Leo constellation. It's about 9 times the size of Earth, about 2 times 2.6 times as large apparently, orbits the habitable zone of its star, which is a cool red dwarf less than half the size of the sun. And when the Hubble Space Telescope appeared to spot water vapor in its atmosphere several years ago, scientists said it was the most habitable known world beyond the solar system. That water signal was apparently methane that they figured out in follow up observations. But still, astronomers argue this planet K218b, that the profile of it is consistent with a world that could be lived on. It's got a vast, deep ocean, a view that still is contentious. Does it really? We don't know. And this hint of DMS. So, Madhusian says the signal came through strong and clear. If we can detect these molecules on habitable planets, this is the first time we've been able to do that as a species, and it's mind-boggling that it's even possible. They published their findings in the Astrophysical Journal Letters, and they say that the concentration of the DMS and DMDS, or both, thousands of times stronger than the levels on Earth, a 3 sigma level, that it falls short of a gold standard for discoveries in physics, but he says there may be processes we don't know about that are producing these molecules. But he says, I don't think there's any known process that can explain this without biology. So, could these chemical signatures of DMS be on this planet because of comets? Could have been brought there by something else? We don't know. Some astronomers say life is one of the options, but it's one of many options to explain this. That we'd have to really rule out all of the other options before we claim that life is the reason. Question mark. Did we find life on another planet? Perhaps. More investigation, as always, is needed. And we move on to the massive golden nugget. Look at this one. This is a big chunker. This nugget was found by folks with a metal detector. It's called the Golden Beauty. It's pretty cool. This is well, yeah, one of many things going up for auction. It's a big one. This is a big chunk gold nugget, and it's going up for sale on April 23rd. It was found in 1979 in the Kalgoorlie goldfields in Western Australia. The couple, John and Francis, they were out looking for a little gold with their metal detector, but they ended up finding the largest from Kalgoorlie in more than half a century. Back then, in 1979, the Golden Beauty nugget was thought to be worth $400,000. This is a 10-pound golden nugget, worth a lot more now. After 40 years, it's going up for sale at the Heritage Auction 2025 Nature and Science Signature Auction. The auctioneers say that in part because of its pure value and beauty, but also because it's so rare, the size of nugget, that it has been estimated that all of the gold ever mined could fit in a cube measuring roughly 72 feet in each direction. And very little remains in a natural nugget state, with the vast majority being melted down and refined for things like gold and jewelry. Originally, this big old nugget called Golden Beauty was part of a private Swiss collection. It is close to 7.5 inches, weighs about 145 troy ounces or 10 pounds. 10 pounds. By comparison, a nugget that weighs only 1 troy ounce is as rare as a 5 carat diamond. So you can't really, I have to show you another picture of this. You can't really get the feeling for how big this thing really is unless maybe you have something compare it to, like perhaps a human hand. So check this out. This is someone holding this nugget. Can you imagine finding this with your metal detector and being like, holy cow? I mean, that's a big one, right? Yeah. Auctioneers say finding a gold nugget of any size is an absolute trophy, but to find something like this, that's beyond rare. A lot of people spent their lives searching for gold, and they will never find anything close to this. So, how much will it go for? Huh. They don't exactly know. Millions and millions? Perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. Again, in 1979, it was worth what? 400,000? So, I don't know. I'll let you know what it goes for. The auction is April 23rd. Can't believe that you know, it's been held by the same people for so long. All right, let's move on from the golden nugget to this little cutie. How cute is this? This is a brand new tiny baby pygmy falcon chick that just hatched at a zoo in Texas, the San Antonio Zoo. It weighs just a little over the same weight as a quarter. It's so light. Look at that. They call him a pint-sized powerhouse. He hatched on March 18th and he weighs 0.23 ounces. A quarter weighs 0.2 ounces. They call him the tiniest predator with the biggest personality. This is the 12th pygmy falcon to hatch in the history of the San Antonio Zoo, the first one since 2004, and the only pygmy falcon to hatch at a zoo in the United States in the last 12 months. His mom and dad, Squiggy and Laverne, love the reference, both hatched at the San Diego Zoo, and now they've started their own family at the San Antonio Zoo. Right now, this little one is being hand raised by zookeepers at their facility for baby birds called The Nest. He's got gray feathers, a little patch of chestnut, and apparently he's got a personality on him. So I just wanted to show you the picture because he's just so cute. I mean, you could argue that a pygmy falcon is cute at this stage, but not when it's, swooping down to steal your small pet. Uh, Pygmy falcon chick hatching at the Texas Zoo. Welcome to the world, little one. The pictures in this next story, I hope don't disturb you, but it is a story about humans helping animals. And someone was walking along and saw this raccoon with his head stuck in a grate. Oh no. And they said, this is not okay. This happened in Massachusetts. This raccoon spotted with its head in a storm drain grate. And so the police were called out after they were called by a local resident who spotted this raccoon near Heritage Park. Officers removed the storm drain cover, but the raccoon still had its head wedged into this opening. So this man was walking by and apparently stepped in to help. He had with him or nearby laundry detergent pods and opened them, broke them up, and used them as lubricant to slick them over the raccoon's fur. And after about 20 minutes of working the lubricant into the fur, they were able to get this raccoon free. And there he is after his ordeal. And now this raccoon is okay. Animal control came out, retrieved the raccoon, and the police are thanking the passerby. His name is Rivera, Mr. Rivera, who came by with the laundry pods. He said, They said, "Thank you to Mr. Rivera for getting the animal in distress the help that it needed." So, all is well that ends well, and we have a raccoon that's now free to move about the cabin. I wanted to bring this story to you yesterday, a story about autism. I don't know if you heard that this new statistic. 1 in every 31 children are being diagnosed with autism before their 8th birthday in the United States. Most people that are diagnosed, the diagnosis comes much later. But before their 8th birthday, 1 in every 31 children being diagnosed with autism, that according to recent findings by the CDC, apparently based on medical records from 2022. The reports from the CDC in 2016 had it 1 in every 54 8-year-olds had been diagnosed with autism. Why the increase? Well, the author of this report attributes the increase to improvements in detecting autism and mass awareness of it as well. It's becoming kind of not a thing almost. I saw someone, I don't know if it was in one of our chats or where I saw the comment. I'm so sorry, I should have noted it, but they said it's not something that needs fixing. That some people wonder if there's a cure for autism, that it's a different way of thinking and it doesn't need fixing. The thing I consider is that there's so many ways that autism is expressed, right? We might look back at the movie Rain Man and think, well, that's going to be hard to live with, where you constantly need help and you really can't function in society by yourself. But I think for most people that have autism, that's not the case. You know, maybe there's some a lack of social awareness, or maybe, there's someone that is not the person that's the chatty catty Kathy at the office. But a lot of people live just fine with autism. The diagnosis rate increasing among children has the now US Department of Health and Human Services, of course, led by RFK Jr., launching this massive testing and research effort trying to identify what has caused what they are terming an autism epidemic by September, right? We're supposed to know by September what the big cause is. But this new CDC report says better diagnostic practices can help explain many of the recent findings. Improvements, they say, in early identification of autism have been apparent. Differences in the prevalence of children identified on the autism spectrum disorder across communities might be due to differences in availability of services for early detection and evaluation and diagnostic practices. They did note that boys have a higher rate of it than girls. There's a 3.4-fold difference in rates among 8-year-olds as far as gender goes in 2022. That rate, though, is narrowed in recent years. And it's not just because of the improvements in identification in girls. Autism diagnoses are also becoming more common among Asian, Black, and Hispanic children than among white children. And that is a shift that was identified in 2020, and apparently that continues. So, interesting new information. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is trying to push the idea that autism is part of this chronic disease epidemic. He said the whole generation of kids is damaged by this chronic disease. I don't necessarily know that that's true. He says autism is totally preventable. He thinks it's all environmental. Okay. Okay, we don't get political on the show. I know we don't. But I just I I guess I just don't feel like it's the an epidemic that, is such a crisis. It is what it is. These kids are lovable. They'll go on to do great things. Many of them thinking in ways that, will benefit society. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep our eye on the story. We'll see what happens in September when we get the the big news bulletin. I saw this story. This is not necessarily news, but I found it fascinating. See those pointy shoes? They're super long, pointy shoes. In medieval times, these shoes were very popular, especially among the wealthy and the elite. And it turns out the longer the pointy toe on the shoe, the more an invitation for sex is being put forth. They're supposed to represent the size of the male member. That's what these shoes are all about. What? This article that I found in historyfacts.com talks about why medieval people wore such pointy shoes. What was the reasoning behind this type of incredibly, I don't know, uncomfortable, hard to walk in style footwear? Why were people walking around with this type of thing? And it turns out that it was a status thing. They're called Krakows, Kracows, Krakows, this style of shoe, called a silly accessory in the medieval period. Only the nobility and the wealthy merchants could afford to purchase these long, pointy shoes. And the longer they were, the more costly they were, the more wealth and status they displayed. And it wasn't uncommon for these pointy Krakows to extend 4 inches beyond the toe, with the extended area stuffed so that it would stay rigid. Some people wore shoes with pointed toes half a yard long, and it was necessary for them to be tied to the shin with chains of silver before they could walk with them. Also, very expensive to have these shoes made, so it was only the lords and sometimes the ladies of medieval Europe who could afford to wear them. They were highly impractical. They were hard to walk in. It was a case of suffering for fashion. And also, it led to some foot injuries. All about these shoes. They were phallic symbols, not only an ostentatious display of wealth, but these extravagantly long shoes were favored by young men, some of whom would stand on street corners, wiggling their shoes suggestively at people walking by. And if the shoes had bells sewn to the ends of them, it indicated that the wearer was available for intimate acts. Who knew? These pointy shoes were an invitation for sexy times. Back then, the Catholic Church was not so pleased with all of this. They saw these pointy shoes as symbols of vanity, excessive pride, and a corrupting force that could only lead to deviance and sin. And so there was a crackdown on the Krakows. Yep, got rid of those. There was a law banning anyone in the lower ranks from wearing these shoes with points longer than 2 inches. And if you were found to break this law, you could be fined. The cobblers couldn't sell overly pointy shoes to people of insufficient status. I guess all that took the fun of the pointy shoes away, and so they went out of vogue. Yeah, all about the ringing of the foot bells on the street and what your pointy shoes meant. I didn't know it. You might have. I thought it was interesting, so I bring it to you. This story also interesting. Aloha to Jim Liu, who sent this one in about growing teeth in the lab to fill in maybe gaps that we have in our mouths with missing teeth. It's regenerative dentistry. And scientists from King's College in London managed to grow a tooth under laboratory conditions. They say it's a breakthrough, but it could still be a long way from the point where they're growing our teeth in a lab to fill in the gaps in our mouths. But one of the dentists involved says the idea of replacing the tooth in a biological way by regrowing it uh, is filling the gaps in knowledge. The implants that people use mostly now, teeth implants, require invasive surgery, a good combination of implants and bone up in the gum right on the jaw. The lab-grown teeth would naturally regenerate, integrating into the jaw as real teeth. They would be stronger, longer lasting, and free from rejection risks, offering a more durable, biologically compatible solution than either fillings or implants. So what you see here is this under a microscope regrowing of the teeth. The white areas are the regrown teeth. They call them toothlets, and that's what these toothlets look like under a microscope. So the team from King's College in the UK worked with the folks in London's Imperial College, and they successfully introduced a special type of material that allows cells to communicate with each other. It means only one cell can effectively tell another to start becoming a tooth cell, and that mimics the environment of growing teeth, and it allows the scientists to recreate the process of tooth development right in the lab. They say they successfully created the environment to grow teeth, and now they're working out how to get them from the lab into the patient's mouth. And there's some different ideas about this. They say we could transplant the young tooth cells right at the location of the missing tooth and then let them grow inside the mouth, or they could create the whole tooth in the lab before they put it in the patient's mouth. So they're trying to figure out what the best practice would be for that. The scientists say that more than half of older adults who live in care homes have tooth decay, and that this could be a game changer for dentists. One of them said, "Will it come in my lifetime of practice? Possibly. In my children's dental lifetimes, maybe. But in my children's lifetimes, hopefully." So we're a ways away from this growing teeth. But it's fascinating the research that's being done. I don't know. I think we're closer than that dentist thinks to this. Thanks, Jim, for that story. I appreciate it. Yeah. Jim writes, "Pro, no more dentures. Next step, growing back your limbs. Con, we can grow bone teeth anywhere on our body. Imagine Wolverine or the next body fashion trend, teeth hair. No." Speaking of medical stories, this is promising for people that are suffering from kidney disease. This bioengineered kidney transplant was done with a patient that had end-stage kidney disease. This person successfully received a genetically engineered pig kidney or pig-like kidney, and then was released from the hospital. The transplant part of this multi-patient study, the first done on 3 patients who were diagnosed with kidney failure and listed as needing a transplant. That according to this company, this biotech firm called eGenesis. So this surgery happened at Massachusetts General Hospital's transplant center. They replaced the patient's unhealthy kidney with a bioengineered porcine kidney in January. Porcine is the scientific term for pig-like. The people at eGenesis responsible for the kidney call it a new frontier in medicine, that we're standing at the beginning of a future where organ shortages may no longer dictate patient outcomes. So the man that got this genetically engineered kidney is 66. His name is Tim. He had been undergoing dialysis treatment for a couple of years because he had end-stage kidney disease. He was fatigued. He couldn't go about his normal daily routine. When he was under dialysis treatment, that contributed to a heart attack. So he was in pretty bad shape. They gave him a 9% chance of undergoing an eventual kidney transplant and a 49% chance of dying while he was waiting for a human kidney. So, with those odds, he opted to go in for this surgery for this porcine kidney. And he said, as soon as I woke up after the surgery, the cloud of dialysis disappeared. He said, I felt re energized and revitalized. He no longer goes through the dialysis treatment. eGenesis says the kidney is working as expected. He's got a new lease on life, he says. The kidney transplant is part of, again, a multi patient study. They did a similar transplant in March, but this patient is the first patient who'd been diagnosed with kidney failure. So there's 2 more transplants planned for patients who also have been diagnosed with kidney failure as well. It's a 3-patient study this year that could offer hope to what the company says is more than 800 million Americans and millions of people around the world that are suffering from end-stage renal disease or kidney failure and could be helped by this. So, crazy what we can do, right? We talk about these while we're on the topic of medicine, talk about this asthma medicine. Apparently, asthma inhalers work better in the afternoon, according to this study. If you take a puff of your inhaler a day, maybe taking it in the afternoon would be better. The single daily preventative dose of inhaled corticosteroid is best taken at mid-afternoon for effective asthma control, according to researchers. They published their study April 15th in the journal Thorax. They say the timing suppresses nighttime worsening of symptoms better than using an inhaler at other times of the day. The perfect timing, they said, is 4 p.m. because that is the body's most responsive to inhaled steroids, 4 p.m. Mid-afternoon dosing better improved nocturnal lung function and inflammatory biomarkers compared with alternative dosage timings. This study done at the University of Manchester in the UK. They looked at a relatively small sample, 25 people between the ages of 18 and 65 with mild to moderate asthma who were randomly assigned to one of 3 different dosing regimens. Some took their dosage in the morning, 8 and 9 a.m., others between 3 and 4. The rest took 2 doses, one between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., the other between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. And they stayed on this regimen for 28 days, and then they swapped to a different one after 3 weeks. And by the end, all of the participants had tried each regimen. But the afternoon dosing people improved their nighttime lung function and reduced their counts of white blood cells linked to allergy responses. And so the researchers say this supports the concept of chronotherapy, or adjusting a person's medication timing to jibe with their biological rhythms. They did put out an accompanying editorial that said the mid-afternoon dosing regimen didn't result in better overall symptom controls. So that's kind of interesting. But I find it fascinating for people suffering from asthma that maybe this could help. All coming down to when you actually do this. All right. Should we do it? It is time for Trivia Thursday. You guys ready for it? I'm going to the chat. Hi, Nolaphidian. Going to the chat to see what you guys have. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm ready for you. Trivia time, says Trevor. Yes, it is. We were born ready, says Heather. All right. Okay, first question of this Trivia Thursday. What is the human body's heaviest organ? What is the human body's heaviest organ? Yeah, you guys got it. It's skin. Oops, sorry. I'm going to scroll back up. It is skin. Peter Newton says skin. Peter Newton says liver. No, the answer is skin. Heather has it. Heather first to the punch with skin. Heather is correct. Skin, says John Watson. Yes, SJ Lola has it. Phineas has skin. Yep. Sandy has skin. Donald the Maine Coon with skin. M. Oak with skin. Debbie has the skin. And Judy. Hi, Judy. That's a cool picture you have there. Chris from Menlo with skin. Yeah, skin is the heaviest organ. Well done. Okay. And the next question is, the planet has a collective, this planet, not our planet, but this planet has a collective 53 moons, making it the planet in our solar system with the most number of moons. What is it? What planet is it? 53 collective moons. It is the planet in our solar system with the most number of moons, highest number of moons. I see the answer. Someone's got it. It is, let's scroll back. Chris, yes, it is Saturn. Saturn is the correct answer. Chris, John Watson, Wes Theory. Hello, Wes. Jennifer L is on it. William bringing it in. Louise bringing it in. We've got Donald coming in. Phineas. Viewfinders. Walnut Creek. Good job. Be aware, asking questions about trivia, saying the planet with 53 confirmed moons is Uranus. Additionally, BA writes, there are 27 more provisional moons that have been observed, bringing the total number of moons around Uranus to 80. So, BA Ware disputes the question. Oh no, it's a trivia throwdown. This man is responsible for reshaping the way early man believed the solar system worked. He proposed the Earth was not the center of the universe and that the sun was instead at the center of our solar system. Who was he? This man is responsible for reshaping the way early man believed the solar system worked, and he proposed the Earth was not the center of the universe and that the sun was instead at the center of our solar system. Who was he? I'm looking at the answers, and the first one I see that gets the correct answer, not George Santos. Yes, be aware with Copernicus. That would be correct. It is Copernicus. William has it as well, and SJ Lola, and ZX, well done, and Wes, well done. Chris from Menlo, Phineas, and Viewfinders, and Eileen with the answer. Yes, Copernicus is the answer. Debbie has it. And ZX with a full name, and Walnut Creek, and Peter. Good job, you guys. Look at you. Finally, I got one right. Well, I'm very proud. You always get them right. I don't know what you're talking about. You always get the good ones. All right. Should we do another science question? Or should we skip over to movies? Oh, there's a lot of good movie ones as well. I might not be done with science. All right. What type of, how about this? An egg's shell is what percentage of its total weight? I know it's a total guess, right? But it's almost Easter, so we'll throw it down. An egg's shell is what percentage of its total weight? 10%. That's pretty close, JT. Oh, I got a 10%. I got a 10% from ZX. I got a 10% from BA. Chris says 10%. The answer is 12%. So you guys are so close, I'm going to give it to you. Wes says 10% as well. Sandy for 10. 12%. Viewfinders. Viewfinders comes in with the right answer. Yeah, it's 12% of the egg's total weight. Yeah. 12% of an egg shell is it's 12% of its total weight. Yep. Uh, Here's a weird question. How many bones do sharks have in total? How many bones do sharks have in total? Yes, Uncle Jim. They have zero. They have zero bones. Zero is correct. You guys aren't fooled by me. Zero. Uncle Jim says zero. Chris from Menlo says zero. Jennifer L with zero. Heather, John Watson. Yes, zero. I love that we're never letting go of 11,780. None, says Nullifidian. Phineas with none. Janet R. Hello says none. Yeah, it's cartilage. It's not bones. None. You guys are awesome. I love that you all knew it. Very cool. All right. This measurement, which is about 6 feet, is used to measure the depth of water. What is it? Don't look it up. See if you know it. Manually search the brain. This measurement, approximately 6 feet, used to measure the depth of water. What is it? Who gets it? Yeah, John Watson, I think, is first to the punch with that. It's a fathom. Fathom, says John Watson, and Jennifer L., and Uncle Jim, and Phineas, and Chris from Menlo, and ZX, and Donald. Fathom, says Jennifer L. Yep, fathom, says Heather. League, I think, you leagues under the sea. That would have been a good answer as well. Teacher Lori says fathom. We got it. Fathom. You don't have to answer more than once. Once is enough. Trevor says fathom. I know. I see you. I see you. Fathom. Blue Spark says fathom. Walnut Creek says fathom. Katie's got fathom. Viewfinder says fathom. PA Ware says, I can't fathom that. I don't know how far a league is. We're going to have to look that one up. Yeah. A Geiger counter is used to measure what? That might be too easy for you guys. A Geiger counter is used to measure what? Radiation, alpha particles. Yeah. It is used to measure radiation is the correct answer. And let's see who got that one right. Jim, Uncle Jim, gets it correct. It is radiation. Peter Newton has it. Jennifer with the knowledge that 3 miles equals a league. Good knowledge. Heather says radiation. Yes. B.A. Ware. Phineas. S.J. I I was tripped up by that too. Yeah. Geiger counters, different than the measurement for earthquakes. Geigers. Radiation, says Nullifidian. Yep. Wes has it. ZX has it. Viewfinders has it. You guys all got this one. Very good. Look at all that. Wow. Mo even says it's oxidized radiation. Used to measure the leaks at Lawrence Livermore Lab. Oh no, not the leaks. We don't need the leaks. What is the scientific term for peeling skin? That's kind of gross. What is the scientific term for peeling skin? Anybody know? We'll go from the easy to the difficult. Thank you. Yes, 3 miles. That equals a league. Gross. Peeling skin, flaking, exfoliation, dandruff, dermatitis, manual shedding, eczema, shedding, molting. Good answers, you guys. Decomposition, lizardization, that thing that snakes do. The answer to this question is desquamation. DESQAMATION. Desquamation. I did not know that. I guess neither did you, but see, we learned together, right? Animals that are active during dawn and dusk are called what type of animal? Animals that are active between dawn and dusk are what type of animal? Nocturnal. Nocturnal, says Sandy. Diurnal, says ZX. A lot of nocturnal. I'm going to say Heather's gets it right. Crepuscular. Here's how they spell it. Crepuscular. Yeah, same thing that Heather has. That's right. Crepuscular. Heather gets it. Jennifer L gets it. Crepuscular is the answer. Yeah. Well done. I love that you guys knew that one. You sciencey people. All right. Next one. This type of material does not allow electricity to flow through them easily, unlike conductors, which are used for their ability to rapidly allow electricity to pass through. What is this material called? I don't like the wording of this question, but it's an interesting question. This type of material doesn't allow electricity to flow through easily, unlike conductors, which are used for their ability to rapidly allow electricity to pass through. What is this type of material called? You're not gonna. I think there's gonna be a revolt on this question. It's called annoying. A semiconductor, a resistor, almost. Dielectric, an insulator, and teacher Lori gets it right. Yep, it is called an insulator. Insulator is the word that I'm looking for. Did anyone else get that? Insulator. Oh, Trevor got it too. Yeah, and Debbie did, and Nullifidian. And Sandy, I'm sorry, my little clicker was down. Uncle Jim has it, insulator. B.A. Ware says insulator. Chris has insulator, and John and Viewfinder. Well done. All right. Trevor Starr wants me to move on to movie trivia. Oh, if you insist, I will. But let me ask you this one last question. Most of a penny is made from what type of metal? Most of a penny is made from what type of metal? John says, I better know that one. Well done. Yep, it's true. Most of a penny is made from, scrolling back up, Uncle Jim says zinc. Zinc is correct, and Peter had it. And Chris from Menlo with his cute hat had it. And Blue Spark had it. And ZX knew it was zinc, and so did Heather. And so did SJ and BA and Teacher Lori and Eileen. Yeah, it's made from zinc. Okay. Shall we move on to movie trivia? We could. Let's do it. In which city did the famous film Lady Bird take place? Did they make them from steel? I believe you. In World War II? Yeah. All right. In which city did the famous movie Lady Bird take place? It was indeed S.J. Lola and John Watson. Sacramento was where it took place. John Watson, S.J. Lola, Sandy has it. Eileen has it. Phineas has it. Spoken like a true Bay Area native, Sacramento. Remember, Dr. Don Rose used to call it that. Jennifer L says Sacramento, and that is correct. All right, a couple more of these questions. Who was the voice of Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? Who provides the voice of Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? You knew it. William says that's Vin Diesel. And William is correct. Vin D, he says. John Watson knew it's Vin Diesel as well. ZX said Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, I am Groot. Phineas had it. Yeah, it's Vin Diesel. Good job, everybody. All right. Next one. What is the highest grossing R-rated film in North America? So not worldwide. The highest grossing R-rated film in North America. I have not seen this movie for a reason. I cannot watch uh, this type of I've heard it's very violent and ick. And so I just don't want that in my head. But it is the highest grossing R-rated film in North America. The Exorcist, says Blue Spark. I could see why that's a good answer. Not the one I'm looking for, but good. The Deer Hunter says Phineas. Jaws says Sandy. The Black Panther, The Joker, Pulp Fiction. Got that twice. The answer is The Passion of the Christ. Anybody see that movie? The Passion of the Christ, the highest grossing R-rated film in North America. Wow. What's the name of the coffee shop in the hit TV show series Friends? See if my sciencey people are well-rounded. The name of the coffee shop in the hit TV show Friends. Oh, look at you guys. I'm so proud. Central Perk, says Sandy. Yep. John Watson says Central Perk. That's correct. SJ Lola. Yeah, I refuse to see that as well. Heather has it. Trevor has it. Phineas has it. B.A. Ware has it. ZX even knew it. Wow. Jim has it. Never watched Friends. What is wrong? Debbie had it. Jennifer L. has it. Judy writes, I don't do blood and guts in my movies. The only exception I'll make is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've seen it so many times, I've kind of been immune to it. I'll do some blood and guts. Like there's some thriller shoot 'em up movies that maybe, the violence is gratuitous, but I can handle some, but not like when it's so gross it turns your stomach, then I can't do it. Yeah, he's changing his name. That's why I told him he doesn't need to keep telling me. That's why I can come down on him a little harder. Yeah. I don't know what that name is about. ZX. He's trying to be anonymous. I see your it's the same picture, dude. We know it's you. Come on. What was the first Disney animated feature movie that was not based on an already existing story? The first Disney animated feature movie that was not based on an already existing story. It was not Snow White, although that's a good answer. It is not Fantasia. It is, though, The Lion King. William Martinez gets it right. It is The Lion King. And that's right. Well done. Yeah. All right. How many Harry Potter books and movies are there? Not the same number, by the way. How many Harry Potter books and how many Harry Potter movies? And it's not the same number. Too many, says Peter. Let's see. Nullifidian says 8, but doesn't differentiate. I'll take this one, 7 and 8. So asked, the answer given in the order asked, yes, there are 7 books and there are 8 movies. 7 books and 8 movies. Uncle Jim, yes, that is correct. 8 movies. Wes has got part of it right. 7 books, 9 movies, almost. Although there's kind of an extra movie that you could count, but not technically part of the Harry Potter series, right? 7 and 8 says Chris. That's correct. 7 and 8 says Debbie. Yep, that's right. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's do another one of these before we wrap it up. What is the longest running Broadway show? I saw this one in San Francisco. My mom took me when I was little. Clinched my love of musical theater. What is the longest running Broadway show? No, it's not cats. Not cats. Not even that cats. Yes, Jennifer, it is the Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera, says Jennifer, and also says Phineas. Yep, longest running Broadway show, Phantom of the Opera. That's awesome. Do we have time for one more? Well, let's do one more. Okay. Should we do easy or hard? How about this one? This is kind of hard. Who was the actor to first portray James Bond? First actor to first portray James Bond. I wouldn't get this right. You would have to really be a James Bond fan to know this one. Yeah, it was Barry. His name is Barry. His name is Barry Nelson. I have never heard of this fellow, but he apparently was the very first actor to portray James Bond. Did not know it. I'll let this one be the last one. Before he was the front man for the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl was the drummer for which band? Before he was the front man for the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl was the drummer for which band? Yeah. Nirvana is the correct answer. Peter was quick to the punch. So was Heather and Jim. Jim has it. Trevor has it. Deidre had that too. William, Blue Spark. Sorry, my clicker's going all over the place. Blue Spark had it. Sandy had it. I also love the Foo Fighters. Nirvana, says Eileen. Yepper. Tammy, yep. Take me back to high school. Nivea skin cream or Nirvana. Mindy has it as well. Awesome. All right. And thus ends Trivia Thursday. I hope you had some fun and found the questions interesting. And even if you didn't know them, maybe we learned something together. Wes says, I did horrible today. I'll wear the dunce cap of shame for the evening. Okay, that's not allowed. There's no dunce cap wearing after trivia allowed. You know what? I blame it on me. Maybe, Wes, my questions suck. Perhaps that's how it all works out. I blame you, right? Just blame me. Take the dunce cap off and blame me completely. Wes, by the way, thank you for the $5 that you contributed to the After Party Live today. Really, really appreciate that so very much. And you do not get to wear the dunce cap. Nope. Scott R., Amy S., Marilyn G., and Yvonne B. this week all had recurring payments where you set up PayPal to do a monthly payment. And I just really appreciate that so much. That helps this crowdfunded show keep on a rolling. So much appreciated. Thank you, JT, for participating and for being here. There is no shaming in trivia. Exactly right, Eileen. No shaming at all. The dunce cap of shame should be a new Mark Thompson show bit to cheer us up from the news. Ugh. No, we're not putting dunce caps on people. I'll wear it all the time. I'll be a tribute. I'll sacrifice myself. So there you go. Oh, Tammy putting together a new grill and fire pit. I want to come to your yard and hang out. Very nice. Thank you guys for playing trivia. Thank you for being here. And in less than 2.5 hours, it's the Nikki Maduro show at 5 p.m. We gather once again, this time with our mocktails, cocktails in hand, and ready to talk some more politics. Nikki Maduro, always so fun. I look forward to the show every week, and it happens tonight, 5 p.m., The Nikki Maduro Show. Set your phone alarm and please join in. It's super fun. If you haven't clicked subscribe, please do. If you haven't clicked like, please do. And I'll see you in just a little while on The Nikki Maduro Show. But between now and then, make it a really good one. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Where's my little video? Here it is. I can find it. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Can I just make ZX cut it and then bring it over?